This time, I'm going to ask you to fasten your seatbelts.
So I decided to actually do this video for a few reasons. One, being that I think a lot of us have a little hard time getting things started. It's not that we don't want to, we just don't know how, right? So I don't want to make this a long video. I'm not going to make this like this uh, long gibberish thing that, honestly, it takes way too long to listen to. So I'm really going to just touch base on points why I started or how more so what inspired me to get started and pretty much the steps I took to get to where I am pretty much. So don't mind me. I literally had to stop for a quick Target run. Every woman loves to stop at Target real quick before I head in the office. But I figured making this reflection video would just be helpful to anyone that is in a predicament where they want to do something else or they feel like they're more and they just don't know how to start it. Like, all right. So I was working for an acquisition company about 2 years ago. And while I was working for them, I remember I called a lot of different clients as far as to let them know. If you don't know what an acquisition company is, long story short, pretty much like I handled having company's information when they sold or like had a merger or whatnot. Um, I would then have to call the same people that had shares in that company and let them know that that company sold and they were getting paid out a certain amount, right? So pretty simple, self-explanatory, nothing crazy. Um, and I remember calling this lady one day and she was just like, "You're calling from where?" I'm not gonna say the company, of course, right? Um, and so yeah, I'm like, you bought a company XYZ, and it sold. You should be getting paid out in the next like few weeks. And so she was like, "For how much?" It was like a little shy of 800,000, right? So this lady's on the phone crying, and this isn't the biggest amount I've ever like called a client in reference to. So to me, I'm just like, why is she crying? Like I genuinely didn't get it. It's not that the dollar amount didn't seem like it was sufficient. It genuinely felt like what? um, so so I asked her, I'm like, why are you crying? And she was like, is this a scam? I'm like, what? No. Whoa, what happened? Like I'm like, this escalated rather quickly, right? And I'm like, no. And so she's like, because she knows she's purchased shares in this company, but she maybe bought for a few hundred. And she was like, she's a single mom, and to hear that now, as a single mom, she came up like 800,000. That is bananas. Like to spend a few hundred, like I'm a mom. I'm a single black mom at that. That's that's a thing. Like I was calling different clients, and I would even call clients that were in Tahiti, and I'm like, hey, you got 3 million from this acquisition, and their response to it is like, oh great, hey, I'll I'll check that account later, and I'm just like, you're gonna check 3 million later, like. I feel like when 3,000 hit my account back in the days, I'm like, I'm checking now. I want to make sure I see the 3,000 every dollar, and I'm gonna watch it. Um, so outside of that, I'm like, okay, so investing clearly is a thing to where it changes. Like it literally can change your life. So I'm not gonna say that the moment that she suggested it, I started trading. That'd be bullshit. Like let's be honest here. I didn't just start trading. I started watching YouTube videos. I dabbed in. Would say I believe options first. Then I hedged into well, I did buy stock first, but I didn't like it wasn't necessarily I wouldn't say it was my thing, just buying stock outright in the beginning. It was I liked options, I liked the fast paced movement of it. Um then I also really started to like Forex, so pretty much trading currency. But all those things, okay, to be very frank with you, didn't just start overnight. One of the things that I'll definitely like to point out if you're going to start trading options and you don't know where to start, um, project was it Option Alpha is a great like beginning tool, like no bullshit. Project Alpha, like no, it's hold on, let me make sure I'm right. It's there's two. It's Project Alpha Option, something like that. It's I'll put it at the bottom. I'm not 100% sure of the name because there was two guys I particularly watched. I felt like broke down it like the best to me. Then there's also if you're doing forex, like a lot of people are like, how do you learn how to trade currency? There's something called babypips.com. Like it's kindergarten for learning how to literally start trading forex and currency. It's like understanding the concept of how and the why and the when. So I definitely suggest people dive into that as far as like introduction to trading. Like a lot of people start with like Ameritrade accounts, and it's, to be frank with you, if you don't know what you're doing, it just looks like a really, really complicated bank account. Like it's, and I feel like a lot of people don't necessarily know how to just, go into it, and it's very wordy when honestly some people are just better with visuals, or some people are just honestly they're better learning hands on and maybe seeing you do it, or even them do it themselves, and they take practice trades. Like some people paper trade. I'm not necessarily one to do that, just because I feel like your emotions are linked to your money, and 90% of trading is your emotions. So to be frank, if I'm not linking it to my money, my trades aren't going to be as accurate. But that's just my personal opinion. Every trader is different. How you get started is honestly all on you. But I just figured, throwing out that as an option is huge. Okay, so pretty much back to that story. So, lady gave me, she told me, gave me the motivation of my lifetime. Then throughout there, to invest in technology companies. So again, very foreign to me. I started to look at different companies. I didn't know what to invest in, to be frank with you. Like the first investment I think I ever took, like genuinely took it with like the initiative of knowing or feeling I knew exactly, or more so had an idea of where it would go. I believe it was Delta, if I'm not mistaken. And I bought it as an option. And I remember it's like maybe I bought the option for like $30 and I made like $400. And granted, like I'm not gonna just drive off in a Lambo for making 40, make 400, but it was the fact that I realized how your money could really make money. Like I could have just left the $40 there, right? And just left it in my wallet, did nothing, or bought gas. So you don't need gas regardless, but like did other things with the money. But this is the one time I could say that the money made sense to me. So I started investing a little bit more. I said I'm gonna take 200 out of my paycheck every week and put it towards options. Granted, I'm not gonna tell you to put away 200 every week and you don't got it, but I'm saying if you can spare 50, if even if you literally build your like pile of what you're going to use to invest, you can put it to the side. It's really not something where you have to, clean out your paycheck or borrow money from mom to be able to do. It's about starting. And a lot of the time people don't realize that options itself gives you the leverage with less. So let's say, for instance, a company's share is $60 per share, right? Versus buying an option where you can control 100 shares for $60. Not exactly that amount, depending on, of course, the company, the demand, all that good stuff. But the point of the matter is you have the ability to control more for less. So your point is to really put money to the side to be able to get, hey, um, put money to the side and be able to get engage, what it is your goal is. And please, let's be realistic here. A lot of us is like, I want to hit that option, or I want to hit that stock, or I want to hit, my currency pairs $1 million. That's not realistic. It's just not. An actual trader is not going to say that one. I'm not saying that you cannot. It's never happened. It's just so unlikely that your probability, you need to focus on what the actual probability of being successful with consistency, right? So I think most people that are going to introduce themselves to trading should have a 3 to 5 year plan. It's realistic, right? There's ups and downs. The market, it goes and fluctuates. We're also going through a pandemic, so we have to consider the fact of the volatility of that, and not everyone considers that. There's going to be a lot of new traders that just enter honestly just to see what happens, and then there's going to be people that don't honestly even give a fuck. They just been throwing money. Like granted, I'm there, it's not going to be rejected, but it doesn't assist, right? Your point is to make money, not lose more money. Like for that you could just burn the money yourself. All right, so I covered the fact of how to start options, right? So I said Project Alpha or Option Alpha or something of that nature. For that, forexbabypips.com, perfect. Also for forex, I would advise anyone that is going to start forex currency pairs, read the book The Candlestick Bible. I'm telling you, it will save you a lot of headache and time, because realistically, majority of it is understanding the analytics of everything. It's not just, don't buy signals. Please do not go join these teams for $100, $200 a month. You don't need that. You need to learn how to trade. That means you need to learn your style. You need to learn your method. Granted, we're not all traders. We're not. That's why they hire me. I can invest and trade for you. Um, but to the ones that want to do it themselves, you have to understand something. It takes time and it takes dedication, and it's not easy. It's not something that you're going to just be able to purchase to a group and feel like all the answers are going to be there, because truth be told, it's everything has an end, right? So realistically, if I hired or like had 10,000 people go under me and I'm so perfect in trading that literally all of that, we're all getting it right, where's the market risk? You have to understand, like, this is literally the objective of the market. There's going to be people that naively go into it. There's going to be people that move on emotion to it. There's going to be a million different ways and reasons to why someone is trading the way that they're trading, or it's affecting just the volatility of everything. And that's just the point of it. Like, it's just risk, right? So, all right. Outside of that, another thing that a lot of people don't really invest, it depends, like, they don't really invest in as much, I would say, that, like, I would say within my age group, I don't really ever hear a lot of my friends mentioning the fact of purchasing bonds and things of that nature. Like, that's also something to really to consider, to be frank with you, depending on where the economy is. So it's different, like, avenues that we can really invest. I would say in reference to bonds, look at the maturity date, look at where our economy is, because it definitely has a habit of moving opposite of, interest rates and stuff like that move based upon, like, inflation. So it's going to be very interesting um, moving forward to see exactly what happens. I would say in the next year with the new strand that's coming out, um, and trading being at a very volatile area right now. Like, honestly, it's been pretty volatile for the last year since COVID. It's been pretty crazy. But all in all, the point of this video, honestly, was just to let you know there's definitely a million different ways to get into trading. You don't have to just invest one way. So I don't want you to think that that's the way that you have to do it. There's annuities. There is, of course, life insurance if you're trying to do long-term investments. Um, there's a lot of different things and avenues that you can go down. But the point of this video is to tell everyone we need to really invest. We need to really make our money make sense. If all you earned or all you got today, and next week all you get is your paycheck, and the following week all you get is your paycheck, there's a problem. That paycheck ain't cutting it. I honestly don't even care how much you make. There's a reason why wealthy people still go hard. You think that they're not 1.2 billion isn't great? It is great, but I could always make more. So I want everyone to stay focused, stay blessed, but definitely be willing to get in there.